Hello and welcome back to another episode of Applied History. I'm your host Matt Blanchette here with Matt Diana. Thanks for coming back.
Of course.
Today we're looking at starting a Mortise and Tenon joint. Matt's going to show us how to make one and tools needed, and take it away.
All right, great. So so like Matt said, we're looking at the Mortise and Tenon joint. So if you think of it like an electrical plug, this would be the socket that the plug goes into.
Cool.
So we're making a square hole. And so we've talked about before, we need our layout tools, the square, the pencil. And the first thing we'll do, we'll pick what's called a reference edge. So the top of the timber, which I'll make this backside. And so
you want that to be a nice square edge because you're going off that.
Something clean, yeah. You wouldn't want to use, say, this right here.
Got it.
There's not much to go off of. So typically in timber framing, it's everything's based off 1.5 inch or 2 inch. So in this case, we're going to do 1.5 inch. So we'll line up the top edge, strike a line, and then we'll bring it down to that line, line up the top edge again, strike another line. And now we just need a location of where this timber is going to be perpendicular coming out of the top there. So say we'll start here, we'll square it down. And our particular matching timber is 6 inches, so we can use the numbers on the square, and we'll measure out 6 inches, make a mark, square that down, and we've laid out our square mortise.
You can see that very clear.
You see that right there.
Cool.
So that's the layout.
Great.
And now, the fun part, removing material. So one of the faster ways to do it is you set up your drill with your 1.5 inch bit, and line it up in the center. Another thing you can do is make a center line so you can get that point right in the right spot.
Okay.
Or just eyeball it.
But when you've been around as long as Matt Diana.
So usually I'll start on each end of the mortise. Get it started, and in we go. Put your...
How do you know? I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, come on.
And how do you know the depth to go on this?
So typically, if you're mating another beam to one beam to another, it's about 4 inches. It's kind of our rule of thumb.
Cool.
In this case, I'm just going to get it started.
Is that a yellow line? Is that yellow line 4 inches? Or?
Not particularly. You know, what I do and measure down is about 3.5.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm going to go a little deeper into there.
Okay, cool.
A lot of times
you're going to finish it off with the chisel anyways.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is just expediting the process.
Cool.
So we'll go a little deeper. So this one.
Be an assistant over here.
Yeah.
I can see you did the top and the bottom of the joint to start.
Yep. Okay. I like to do both ends first because if you start going down the line, next thing you know, you're over the line.
Yeah, so you set your boundaries.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we just hog out the middle.
They haven't invented a square bit yet.
Actually, they have.
Oh, well, there you go.
If you want to spend about $3,000, there's there is a machine
That's funny.
that makes a square hole. All right, so we've roughed out.
Yeah, you took the curse out of it.
Yeah, roughed that out.
Okay.
So now, and you see, we've roughed out most of the material in the square hole. So now we'll take our chisel, 1.5 inch, and clean that up.
Cool.
So chisel, take our mallet. So again, I'll start on the end, establish that shoulder. Do the other end. Come down the side.
Look at that. Like Mr. Miyagi.
There's no flies buzzing around yet.
Beautiful.
And take as much time as you need. So
Yeah.
things get squared up, we clean it out,
Nice.
we have a square hole.
So now you just continue the process till it's about 6 inches deep, nice and square and flat.
Yep, and
And
magically you end up with a nice clean mortise.
it's a beautiful thing. So now talk to us about how you know where to put the, what do you call this hole here?
The peg hole,
Yeah.
right? Yep, so the peg hole, typically on a beam, it's going to be in the center of the beam.
Okay.
Right, so we just measured over 3 inches to get that location.
Got it.
And back to our handy square,
Yeah.
center of hole, 1.5 inches from the shoulder.
Okay.
So we make our mark, and depending on the size of your peg, in our case it's 1 inch, we drill a 1 inch hole
Okay.
right down in.
Cool.
And the next step would be the tenon.
Let's go. Let's cut to that.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Usually use the new piece. Maybe get this one we can use.
You want to do it on that or this?
I'll do it on this one.
Cool.
And then keep that one handy, and
Sweet.
we'll swap it out.
Okay. And we're back. Now we just learned how to do a mortise-in. You're going to show us how to do a tenon.
Mm-hmm.
Show us what you got.
Yep. So same thing. We're going to start with the layout. Again, we can start with our square. And so we know that we made a 4-inch deep mortise, so we're going to make a 4-inch deep tenon. So the first thing you'd do, you'd square the end of your timber with a circular saw. And so if you have a tape measure, pretty simple, you can use that. You don't have to be romantic with the square. Give yourself a 4-inch mark. Now you can take your square and square that line. So that line is going to be the shoulder of the tenon. End of the tenon's here. This line will match the mortise. It'll button it to the opposing timber. So square that line all the way across. Can't forget the bottom. So we're going to cut that too. So come back to your top. And just like we did with the mortise, now we have our reference face. This is going to be the top. So if we roll on the side, we're going to hold our square on the top edge, strike your line, bring it down to the pencil line, strike it again.
Cool.
And you can see the pencil line's there. There's 1.5 inch shoulder, 1.5 inch tenon, and then the rest is just extra.
Nice.
So we'll cut that out. And then
Follow it all the way around.
continue those lines. This is the tricky part here. Tell you what, we'll do the other side first. Out the top. A little tedious, but
Yeah, accurate.
a little work goes a long way. And now you have all faces laid out.
Cool.
It's a good idea to give yourself some pencil marks for what you're going to cut out.
Yeah.
You know? So what we're going to do, we're going to make a cut along the top,
Yeah.
down to that tenon,
Cool.
and then we're going to cut along the length of the timber.
Excellent.
And so once that's ready, then we can fit them together.
Let's do it.
So you can do it the old-fashioned way with the handsaw or
Okay.
a circular saw. So we'll, if you don't mind, want to give me a little weight down
Yes,
to
sir.
that end? We'll make this cut. So you line up your line. Check it on the back side.
Should see this guy cut asparagus. He's like Gordon Ramsay. All right, what next?
So we could use a saw, or we could take our chisel
Okay.
and
You want to
tell you what.
I'm
gonna go. Nope, just so I don't knock that into you. You can take your chisel
Oh, neat.
and chisel along that line.
Huh.
So you could saw it, or you can chisel.
I like the chisel.
Chiseling's kind of
Yeah.
nice. So you can kind of rough it out and then get a little closer. Get right down to that line.
Pretty slick.
And typically we'd use a power circular saw, makes things go a little
Clean it up.
faster, but
Yeah.
it's good to know how to do it the other
Pretty
way.
neat. Huh. I've never seen that done before.
Yeah, so then you'll kind of just clean that up. Get that nice smooth surface, make sure you're at your pencil line. And that's how
slick.
you'd cut out one side of it.
That's
then,
so accurate. I can't believe it with the chisel.
yeah, so then we do same thing on the bottom.
Yep.
And when that's all done, we
Yep.
end up with the finished product.
Press the change-o.
Yeah.
Now we have a mortise and a tenon. And you're telling me these are just going to line right up, huh?
They should.
All right, let's check it out. So now tell me what you said about lining up the holes. And what's the right way to line up the peg holes?
Yep. So so you can see I already drilled the hole in this tenon, but we're going to do something called a draw bore. And what we do, we have the hole in the mortise. So we take our 1-inch drill bit, which is somewhere else, stick it in, make a mark.
Yeah.
Pull the tenon out.
Yeah.
Offset that hole about 1/8 of an inch.
Got it.
Drill that. And so when these two go together,
so you're intentionally offsetting the hole in the tenon.
Cinches up real tight.
Because then it pulls together. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
As you can see, that's pretty secure.
Where's that going? Nowhere. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have a mortise and tenon from Master Housewright, Matt Diana. Thank you for the example.
Of course.
And tune in next time, where I believe we're doing a dovetail or a scarf next time.
Dovetail joint.
Dovetail next.
So we're getting a little
See you
fancy.
next time. Tune in next week. We'll see you then. Bye.